All right, folks. Good morning. So let's get this started. Can everybody give a confirmation that you're able to hear me well, see my screen, and you can also, if you can just give that confirmation on the chat, we are good to
Yes,
go.
yes.
All right, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much. So I request folks to go back to mute. So my name is Vignesh Ganeshan, and I'm here to just do the event kickoff. So we have a day full of event planned for you folks today. I'd like to begin by saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening based upon wherever you're joining us from today, folks. And yeah, so first of all, welcome all. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us here today. I understand it has been a crazy week for a lot of you folks. There might have been a lot of work from from your employers, a lot of personal work, and I believe this Saturday or Sunday is something that you might have been badly looking for to relax. But thank you so much for taking this time and choosing to be with us for learning something new. That has always been the driving force for us to create new events and come up with new ideas and create community events, so on and so forth. So please keep that spirit coming. We have a lot of sessions planned for you today, and we have many more events planned for this year. I like to start this event by one of my favorite quotes because when I think about Power Platform, this is one such quote which is so close to my mind. And it goes like this, right? I believe most of you might have already read it, most of you might have seen in various forums, but I think this has a very strong connection to this event. So I'd like to kickstart this event by highlighting this quote here. It says, "The most profound technologies are those that disappear. They weave themselves into the fabric of everyday life until they are indistinguishable from it." And it was said by Mark Weiser. Because that's what technology to me means, and that's how we need to look at technology, right? It's not something which is looked differently. It has to become as a part of your day-to-day life, and it is not looked at as a different platform anymore. So I think Power Platform has a very good relation to this, because when you think initially this product was released, it was mainly meant for core developers. Then we said, for citizen developers. And today I could see a person even without a proper computer knowledge can go ahead and start playing around with the entire Power Platform, right? So that's how much it has become a part of everybody's life here. And I really wanted to bring up this quote to kickstart this event today. So let's move on. So what do we have in house for you today, right? So we have a day full of learning on Microsoft Power Platform services. So as you can see, it is a 12-hour non-stop virtual event. We are not doing breaks. That doesn't mean that you're not allowed to take break. Feel free to grab something, munch something, and join our sessions. We want to make sure that we are taking full advantage of this day, and we want to cover as much as possible. I understand that it might be quite exhaustive for you because we are covering a lot of topics, but please stick to this, because there is a lot of effort and hard work which has gone in getting this event to where it is today. So we really want you to stick around and gain full benefit from this event. So we'll be running two tracks in parallel. We have the dev track and the IT pro track. So folks who consider yourself as citizen developers or pro developers, or who have been in the industry for quite some time doing SharePoint development or Azure dev, we request you to stick to the dev track. And for folks who come from a hardcore IT pro background, we have a IT pro track for you, wherein we are doing a lot of sessions around administration, security, governance, automation, and how do you get started with something. A lot of interesting topics which we have cherry picked and put for you there on both the tracks. So based upon your profile, choose the right track and stick around. So we have deep dive sessions with loads of demos. What is a session without a demo, right? So we made sure that all the sessions that we are showing, which is running today, has a very good demo. So yes, so there is a lot of demos planned for you folks today. And the best part is we've got speakers from different parts of the world. One advantage of doing an event virtually is you get to hear from speakers across the globe, and this event is no different from that. So we have speakers from the Microsoft engineering team, and then we have Microsoft leadership team also who are joining us to be a part of this event. So I'd like to take a moment to thank them especially for taking the time out of their busy schedule, because Ignite is around. A lot of these people were really busy, and when we just said that we really want to get this done, there was no hesitation from their end, and they were all game to do this. So a special thanks to them. There are a lot of Q&As that you could ask, and it's basically in an event like this, it's just not about learning. You want to do a lot of networking too. It's just that we are doing it virtually, so ask as many questions as possible. Get your doubts clarified. If at all you feel that there is a need that you want to personally connect with the speaker later on, feel free to do that also. And we also have a special video message from Donna Sarkar. I believe anybody who has been very much involved in the Power App community would know Donna Sarkar as very well. So she was not able to make it to this event due to time zone challenges, but we managed to get a video message from her. So event organizers. So this time we wanted to do something very, very differently. So you know, the way this event was organized is on the very same day, we have this event running across the globe in different cities. So a few months back when we thought about this event, so we really wanted to think, do we want to do this as one separate event in each and every single city? Like Pune has its own event, Hyderabad has its own event, Bangalore has its own event, and Chennai has its own event, right? I mean, we could have done that, but where is the fun in that, right? We really wanted everybody to come to a common platform, and do this as a combined event, just to show that you know we are all one single community here. It's just that we are operating from different locations, but the spirit among us is the same, right? So we wanted to do this as a combined event. So these are the communities who have come forward to do it. It's the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform India user group, the Pune Tech community, M365 Ahmedabad user group, Hyderabad Power Apps and Power Automate user group. I'm just calling out the communities names, but that has, trust me, folks, there has been so much of involvement here from all the organizers here. I believe there were not less than 10 to 15 people who were involved in that. And unless and until without them, this event wouldn't be where it is today. So thank you so much to all the organizers for for this. And then our sponsors, for any event, getting a financial thing is very, very important. And that is no different for this event too. So these are our sponsors who are so kind enough to come forward and sponsor this event. So be it the event posters, be it some goodies, be it in creating the banners, they were so instrumental in getting things done. And we were highly relying upon them in advertising this event. So we'd like to take a special moment to thank all of them. So we have a Decon Soft, which is a software training company from Hyderabad. Then we have a Rapid Circle. Then we have Pentara Technologies. We've got Hubfly, and then we have Mohimbi. So these are our 5 sponsors for this event. So on behalf of all of you, I'd like to take a moment to thank them for helping us to sponsor this event. So this is uber important, and I really want you folks to to sort of pay very close attention to this. So this is how we are planning to do this session, right? So we are all living in a virtual world here today, and I'm really not sure how long this is going to go. It's just that we have to get used to this. With that being said, it's very important that I give you a proper guideline of how we want to do this session. So each and every single session will have its own team meeting URL. So this event kickoff that I'm doing, the next opening ceremony for the all first 3 sessions in the opening ceremony, it is just this single team meeting invite. So just beyond this session till we finish the next welcome note and the core keynote, right? So once you're done with that, the breakout sessions will start. So for the breakout session, each and every single session has its own team meeting URL. So once you're done with one session, you got to come back to the agenda and then click on the link for the next session and join. Now, the reason why we are doing this is what we have observed is sometimes attendees want to stick to the speaker and ask some more questions. They want to get their doubts clarified, right? And we do not want that becoming a showstopper for the next session, because things are simply going to get pushed in that case. So what we thought is, let's keep individual sessions. So if at all you have any questions, you want to stick around with the speaker for quite some time, feel free to do that. But please be mindful that the next session will start. Okay, because we do not want this to hold on the next session. So that is something which I want you to pay close attention to. So when it comes to questions, what we would highly recommend is please park your questions towards the end. That doesn't mean that you're not allowed to ask questions during the course of the session. What I would suggest is put your question on the chat so that the speaker can take a look at the questions and answer it towards the end. So this way, the speaker gets to finish the session on time, and you also have a focused time to ask questions. So that way it's a lot more beneficial for both the parties. And as I said, it's after the session. Just click on the next session title, and you're good to go. These are some basic session etiquettes, because we're all doing virtual, and I really request you folks to stick to this, or else we are simply gonna push the time. And we also want you folks to make some noise on Twitter about this event. And let me also remind you that we've got some good goodies for the folks here, right? So these are the Twitter handles for this event today. So the one which you're seeing towards your left-hand side is specifically for the India event, and the one that you're seeing towards the right-hand side is for the global community who is running this event across all the cities. So when you're writing a tweet or when you're tweeting about us, please make sure that you're using these hashtags and Twitter handles. We'd really love to hear from you. And as I said, at the end of the session, exactly at 8:30 p.m. IST, we have a technical quiz plan. We would be doing Kahoot. And, the way we have planned this is it is only for the first 50 participants. So please make sure that you join this on time. And we have got some exciting goodies for you also. I believe you might have seen in the posters that we have an Echo Dot. Then we have got some cool pen drives also. So there are two ways to win goodies. One is by being a part of the technical quiz and answering questions. So when I say technical quiz, we are not really going to ask you some crazy questions that interviewers ask you on interviews. That's not what we are going to do here today. Just pay close attention to the session. So our questions would be more focused on the topics that are being covered in today's session, right? And then for the people who are tweeting about us. So when I say tweet, we are not going to go for the highest number of tweet. We've done that in the past, and what we realized is it's simply not working out, because people just keep tweeting some random stuff. So what we are looking for is some meaningful tweet, like what you have learned from today's session, right? So how did this session create an impact for you? How was this day for you, right? Something really meaningful, and some good tweets is what we are looking forward for. So just to repeat, we have a uh, prize and goodie under the technical quiz category, and then we also have a prize and goodie for people who are making meaningful tweets about us. Finally, so please join me in welcoming our welcome note and keynote speakers. So we have Deepak Rajendran. I believe he doesn't need any introduction. Everybody knows him very well in the community. So he's the one who heads the Microsoft MVP and RD program for India and Middle East. So for any event, he's the one who always supports us, and he has always been instrumental in getting things done for us. He's just always a phone call or email away. We just call him and say, Deepak, we are planning to do this event and we really need your help for this. And he has just been an all game to get that done. So thank you, Deepak, for being with us today. And then we have Donna Sarkar. So this is the first time ever we are inviting her for a India-based event. So as I said, people in the Powerapps community would know her very well. So she's the dev manager, Power Platform and Fusion Devs Advocacy in Microsoft. A lot of you might have seen her in many events and many videos. We really want her to be a part of this event. Just that she couldn't make it virtual, but that is a recording from here. And last but not least, we have Sandeep Allude, who is the director for MTC at Microsoft, a very good personal friend and mentor for me when I was at MS, a very good AI enthusiast. So, you could see him in most of all the events, wherever there are some good events, you would see Sandeep's session there. And he is one such person whom you can just talk to him anything about AI. He has so much of information. So if you have just want to have a coffee conversation with him, or you see him in the lobby and you talk something to him, he's just so much of information, and he has a lot to give to you. So I think we are in good hands now. I'm gonna keep myself quiet, and I'm gonna hand the floor to my welcome note and keynote speakers. So with that, over to you, Deepak.
Thank you, Vignesh. It was some amazing introduction. You honestly had me embarrassed for a bit. You had me blushing as well. So thanks for that. And for everyone who's taken the effort to be here this morning, despite being a weekend morning, and like Vignesh said, probably after a pretty hard week, when you're really looking forward to some rest, you've chosen to be here, wanting to learn more, and that's fantastic. So thank you for being here. And before I go any further, I want to thank the MVPs who've put together their energies to put this event together. Some of you who've probably had the opportunity to attend this the previous year, you might have seen that these were individual events the last year. And this year, they decided to join forces and give you the audience the best of speakers and the best of sessions from across the globe, and more importantly from across the country, because that means that you're going to get content that's relevant and more easily relatable to you, who's basically a citizen developer based out of India. And that's taken a lot of work, and I've personally seen how much of effort some of the wonderful ladies and gentlemen on the organization team have put together over the last, I don't know, 3 months, I think, if not more. So brilliant work. Thank you. If the session is a reality today, it's your perseverance. I'm so super impressed and super honored to be a small part of this. So thank you. And that what that really means is you have wonderful speakers and wonderful tech sessions. So I'm going to leave the real technical part and the essence of the event to the rest of the eminent speakers. What I'm really here is to remind you why you are here. And if some of you have heard me speak earlier, I usually think of myself as an appetizer for such kind of sessions, right? It's pretty much like what happens when you walk into a fine dining restaurant. You usually get something served on the table that's pretty representative of the cuisine and tells you the kind of food that's coming up, and also just satiates your hunger a little bit, so that you're looking forward to the food. So that's really what my role is as a welcome note speaker. I'm really here to tell you why you're here, tell you what's coming up and why it's so exciting and why you should wait for it, right? So so the real reason why I think you should be here is twofold. One is primarily the real reason for being in communities, right? And let me reflect on my own story. I've been with communities for the last 20 odd years, and when I started off as a college student who's really passionate about technology and wanted to start off on the next big thing, I heard about this thing called .NET, and I had no clue where to start. I mean, this is the 2000s. We didn't have access to the kind of internet resources we had today. Books were frightfully expensive. Courses were even more expensive. And me being a student didn't have access to professional developers who could coach me, and so I was literally lost, right? And that's when I got introduced to the whole concept of user groups and communities, and suddenly I found myself in the midst of people who were excited about the same technologies that I really was looking forward to learn, right? And that gave me access to start my learning journey at whatever level I was currently in. And the beauty about it is the fact that I was surrounded by them all around, which means that I could pick up things from each one of them, right? And think about it as a classroom on steroids, right? I mean, everybody around you has the same objective. Everybody around you has the same passion, and is there for just one reason, which is the technology that all of you love, right? That gives you like a phenomenal power, right? And I can confidently say that if I'm here today, I think it's largely because of the benefits that I reaped out of being a part of communities. And I have a whole lot of experience of other people also witnessing the same thing, right? And if that was true for me 20 years ago, when I was really having a lack of data or a lack of resources on how to get started, I think it's a lot more amplified for you guys today, because now you have exact opposite. You have the problem of plenty, right? That anytime anything that you want to search, and anytime you actually have multitude of things that show up, and you often don't know where to start. You often don't know what's the next step. You don't know where you're headed, and you don't know what you need to go where you're headed. And that's where this whole community of people, that classroom of steroids that I told you about, will come in handy. Everyone around you will be willing to help you. Everyone around you have the same kind of passion that they're going to instill in you, and that's a brilliant place for you to be in as a as an aspiring technologist. That's the first reason. And the second reason why I would say that this is a great place for you to be in is, again, something that I believe most of you would agree with me on, which is the fact that more often than not, as techies, you'd have found that it's a pretty closed circle, right? I mean, I've had I wrote my first computer program when I was all of 8 years old, and then as I started growing in the career, I realized that the only difference between people who picked up information technology as a career choice, or something that they want to build their career in. And the ones who don't are the people who've had a great introduction to it, of the people who've not had a great introduction to it, right? So I've often wondered, what can I do to bring in more people into the technology circle? How can we make IT a part of everyone's life without really depending on their ability to code or their ability to to do what is considered as really technical stuff, right? And so something beautiful happened over the last decade where companies started thinking, while one set of companies were really working on building platforms that empowered true technology professionals. There was this other set of things that kept happening that which focused on bringing more people who were traditionally not accessible to technology, and not just get them to be power users, but actually enable them to build on top of it, right? Called as citizen development. And the beauty is that it just got better and better. And today we have something like the Power Platform. And the beauty of the Power Platform, the reason why I believe it's probably the best citizen development platform out there, is because it brings together multiple beautiful citizen development concepts, right? It has citizen app development on one hand, and it also gives you the ability to build workflows. And it has the best of all the little AI sprinkles that you need on top of your applications, all under one platform. I mean, you might have had experience doing each of this in different places, but the fact that the Power Platform brings it all together and gives it to you in less to no code is brilliant. And what that means is now you can go back to this from this session and talk about this to probably your mother who's a homemaker, probably to your uncle who's a banker, or your sister who's a student, and ensure that they also understand that they can contribute to the whole technology ecosystem like you do. And that's a brilliant enabler, right? And you're actually making a difference to somebody's lives. So I just wanted to remind you of that when you go through this session, that while you're getting better, also remember that you have the opportunity to touch other people's lives with something like this. So be conscious about that. Be curious, and be respectful, of course, and ask all the questions that you need. But more importantly, make this a journey. Because, like what Vignesh rightfully mentioned, this is a community, and communities are really a lifelong journey, if you ask me. If you look at this as just an event, then you're probably not reaping the complete benefits of this. So the best way for you to do is to consider this. I mean, if you're already on the community board for the last few years, fantastic. Welcome again. If you're new, then a huge welcome to you as well, because this probably could be the start of one of your most engaging journeys in your lifetime. So pay absolute be as participative as you can, and more importantly, stay in touch, continue this journey, learn as much as you can, and more importantly, share back, because somebody else is sharing for you to learn. And I think it's beautiful to give back as well. And trust me, this will be a journey that you will enjoy through the rest of your lifetime. You've got one example here. I'm sure there are many more examples in the audience. All the MVPs here are fantastic examples of that. So absolutely consider that as one of the personal promises that you should be making to yourself. Stay with us as a community, keep the conversation going, and I look forward to keeping in regular touch with each of you through some of these engagements. Like Vignesh said, we have a whole bunch of speakers, so we encourage you to ask questions. We encourage you to engage with them. You might see the speakers sharing their social handles as well, so feel free to reach out to them, stay in touch, and keep that conversation going, because that's when you really reap the benefits of being in a community. With that, I think we have my wonderful colleague, Donna, who's left a beautiful video message for all of you, followed by my fantastic friend, Sandeep, who I'm looking forward to hear. It's been, thanks to the pandemic, it's well over a year since I've seen him in person, but I'd love to see him virtually now and talk. So let me hand it back to Vignesh, who will take us through the rest of the show.
All right.
Thanks, Vignesh.
All right. Thank you so much, Deepak. And let me tell you that look smart. I think you have done something different. Thank you. It's been a while.
Thank you. Yes, it's been a while.
Sorry. As I said, these are going to be two different tracks for the breakout session. So please make sure that you click the appropriate session and join. And for any questions, please have it coming on the chat. So now I'm gonna roll this video from Donna. Just give me a minute here. Right. All right.
Hello, Global Bootcamp. I am so excited that so many of you are joining us this year. Do you know last year we had like 22,000 people all over the world, 20 plus countries join us for the Global Power Platform Bootcamp. And I think this year we're going to get more. And we'd love, love, love to see more participation from India, because you have some of the most smart, passionate, amazing developers, citizen developers, IT pros, whatever you call yourselves in the world. So we really, really hope you join us this year. We hope you participate. We hope you create cool stuff. We hope you learn things. And we hope you stay in touch. So I have a few things to share with you this morning. And I'm going to quickly share my screen. Let me get here. And I am going to start off by telling you a story. How many of you have heard of the Power Platform? Hopefully some of you. And if you haven't up until recently, that's okay, because I hadn't either. About a year and a half ago, something happened that dramatically changed my life. I'd like for everyone to meet Shamal. Shamal is my best friend and my dad. So he's been a factory plant worker sort of person at Ford Motor Company for about 30 years. This is in Detroit, Michigan in the US. So he's done this pretty much my entire adult life. And last year, a year and a half ago, actually, something bad happened, which was Ford Motor Company had a massive restructure and they laid off about 10,000 people. And the people they laid off were the ones who they didn't think were technical. These are people who they thought would not be able to contribute to their autonomous driving future that they have planned. So this was all the people they didn't think could help them make self-driving cars. Shamal was amongst them, along with 10,000 other people. At the same time, a few years ago, I had the privilege of meeting this young woman named Yeshua Russell. He is the CEO of a solar power company in Abuja, Nigeria, called Group Power. Yeshua is very smart. He's incredibly good at business, very good at presenting, very good at understanding business problems and solving them. Here I am showing him how to use the Microsoft HoloLens. This is where you build mixed reality apps using C# and Unity and deploy them onto this Windows 10 device on your head, and you're able to see holograms all over the world. I'm showing him how he can place solar panels on a roof and see how they fit and behave for something that might be relevant to his business. Now, Yeshua tells me something very interesting. He said, Donna, this technology is super cool, but I am not a software engineer like you. I don't have time to go and learn C# and Unity development. I just need something that I can drag and drop and build on my own. And I thought that is really, really interesting. Because forever, I've been in technology for almost 20 years. And the whole time, this entire time, I've been about coding. I've believed that everyone in the world should learn coding because it will help them in some way or the other. I didn't think everyone should have to become a software engineer, but I thought coding was like writing, where it is a superpower. And if you have that skill, it's going to set you apart. Like Yeshua, not a software engineer, but coding would help him build his business. Like my dad, not a software engineer, but coding would help him retain his job. So I believed this for a long time. But after so many years, I realized it's just not going to happen. 7.6 billion people are not going to learn coding. A large percentage of these people don't have food, water, or a roof over their heads. And another large percentage just simply do not have the time or the resources to learn software development from scratch. They can't go get a computer science degree. They can't do a coding bootcamp because they simply do not have the time or the resources. So a few years ago, Microsoft introduced this concept called citizen developers. And the vision is that instead of 7.6 billion people learning coding, why don't we help them learn that skill that coding gives you, which is building and making solutions to solve your own business problems. So this vision of everyone in the world can build solutions to solve their own business and life problems, we decided to start a global movement. We called it Less Code, More Power. So instead of focusing on learn code, focus on what are you trying to do with that code and how can we make you more powerful to be able to do that. To go along with this global movement, we built a tool set called the Microsoft Power Platform. This is a low-code platform that spans Office 365, Azure Dynamics, standalone apps, et cetera, et cetera. So there are 4 major things that you see in the platform and a bunch of stuff it's built on. So first of all is Power BI. This is the business analytics tool where you can build beautiful visualizations from data. Next one is Powerapps, which is low-code app development. Third one is Power Automate, which is automation of workflows and processes in the background. And the third one is Power Virtual Agents, which are chatbots or personal assistants that you use for your business or organization. There are about 400 data connectors. So you can connect to whatever data source you've got. You've got a SQL data source, cool. You've got an Excel data source, cool. You've got SharePoint, you've got Salesforce, awesome. Whatever place your data lives in, you don't need to move the data somewhere before using the Power Platform. Second thing, there's a bunch of AI magic built on Azure AI that runs in the background. Some of these come out in our AI Builder functionality, which is baked into Powerapps. And the third thing is Dataverse. Dataverse is the low-code backend data store that is part of the Power Platform. There is a free version called Dataverse for Teams that I highly recommend everyone try. So just deep diving, Power Platform is built with Azure, it's built on Azure, and it's made to scale Azure. So the way I think about it is Power Platform is really Azure for the non-deeply technical. So Power BI is built on SQL Azure. Power Virtual Agents is built on cognitive services in Azure. All of these services kind of extrapolate away all of the complexities of the Azure services and make them easy for anyone in the world to be able to drag and drop and use just basic logic to build whatever they need to solve their business problems. Now, from a scale of using Azure and using pro developer tools such as Visual Studio and VS Code. So let's deep dive into each one. First of all, Powerapps, which drag and drop thing where you have whatever data store you want. It generates Canvas apps or model-based apps, tablet apps.
Vignesh, we lost audio.
They have to be in your enterprise and you would have had to give them specific permissions.
Hello.
New
Yeah, we lost your audio actually in between.
Just give me a minute, I think. Let me share once again. Yeah.
model visualization, which I love, and place them within your environment. So you can place them in your room, in your factory, et cetera, et cetera. This has been incredibly popular with our students, as well as people who work in manufacturing and retail. Second thing is Power Automate. Power Automate is backend process automation. This is where you can say, trigger a flow to ping me when a customer has a low sentiment order placed on my website. So you can create lots of flows to solve lots of business problems. I have flows created whenever someone on my team emails me or my manager emails me. That way I tend to the most important parts of my job early and right away because of triggers to my phone, triggers to my email, triggers to whatever. A new thing in Power Automate is called Robotic Process Automation. This is a way to automate all those legacy apps that you've got. So, you know, there's a bunch of like legacy finance apps that there's no APIs, so it's hard to automate them. But RPA helps you record steps, like click on this, fill out this, and play those back. So they run on their own without you. This is available now. So I highly recommend you go check out RPA UI flows, because I think it may really, really help your business. Third thing, Power Virtual Agents. These are low-code chatbots. This is cool. This is probably my favorite part of the Power Platform, because it helps you build chatbots that can run anywhere. You could put these on your personal website. You could put them in a Powerapps portal, which is a low-code website. You can put these within Teams. You can put these anywhere. But it gets rid of this idea that you need to be like a cognitive services expert, and just helps you build a chatbot. My favorite trick is to take an FAQ, like a frequently asked questions page, and turn that into a chatbot. It's exactly 3 steps, and it's very fun. The new thing, Dataverse for Teams. This is a way that you can build Power Apps or Power BI visualizations from within Teams itself. I highly recommend you go check it out. You probably have it active if you've got a Teams tenant. So in Teams, just look up Power Apps, add an app from this lower corner and lower left-hand corner, say add Power Apps, and then you'll see build an app, and it'll build it to look native within Teams, but also be very much a Power App. And you can run this anywhere, of course, whether it's in Teams or your phone or your or in a web browser. So Power Apps has this expansive customer base. I think 90% of the Fortune 500 companies use Power Apps at this point. And you can see that these are across a variety of sectors: healthcare, finance, manufacturing, retail, public sector, tech services, food and beverage, etc. And they solve really, really big problems. These are things like healthcare services for workers, expense tracking, mileage tracking, facilities requests, COVID tracking, vaccine distribution. Pretty much all of the business processes you can think of within an organization, your Power App can help solve. So this is a very, very powerful skill for people in the world to have. Speaking of people, our big superpower for Power Platform is our global community. We've got not 1.4 million, but about 5 million active community members. Many of them are in India. So thank you so much for the work you do. And this community is the most helpful, most powerful, most incredible group of people. If you ever have a question, there's always going to be some community member who's happy to jump on a call with you and help you debug that thing. So I highly recommend getting involved with your local community, which you have by joining in the bootcamp today. But stay in touch, ask questions, help people, and just get involved, because being a part of the community has led people to getting opportunities to speak on global stages, to speak at Ignite, to speak at our Build conference, to get jobs, internships, so many opportunities. So 2 people I'd like to call out specifically. If you've ever attended a Microsoft event, you've probably heard us talk about Foyin Olajide Bello from Nigeria. Foyin is someone who worked at Sterling Bank. She was hired on to work in InfoPath and SharePoint. Oh, wow, right? But she quickly realized InfoPath is kind of dead and SharePoint is very hard for people to use. So she built Power Apps to solve their business problems. Right now, people at the bank, each of the individual bank branches, can use a Power App to say, oh, we're moving money from the vault to the ATM. So they fill out a form on the Power App, hit submit, get shared automatically SharePoint, so they're not messing around with SharePoint data, deleting each other. Foyin's manager liked this so much that he encouraged her to go ahead and spread this knowledge to other people. So she started this thing called Citizen Developers Academy at Sterling Bank, and she upskilled 100 people, non-tech, so HR, legal, finance, operations, in how they can use Power Apps to solve their own business problems. So she was able to scale her knowledge, and she decided, why only scale her knowledge to her bank? She decided to start a user group in Nigeria. Originally, they started with 2 people, her and a friend. When I went to visit them a year and a half ago-ish, they were already at 50 people, and now they're at over 100. They're over 1,000 people. Last year at Power Platform Bootcamp, they had 1,200 people attend their bootcamp. It was extraordinary. And Foyin is, of course, our latest MVP, and she's been featured on stage by Satya Nadella, our CEO, last year at Inspire, because her story is just very cool, exactly the kind of people we want to see. Another person who might be familiar to you is Heymontika Mitra. She is from this place called Siliguri in India, and she is a student. She learned about Power Apps only last April, so not even a year ago, 2020 April. She learned about it at a student ambassador program, Meetup virtual, and she was so taken by this idea that she went and built a Power App that night, to track COVID cases in her area. So she was able to take the government's data and build a data source out of it and used it to build a Power App to track the majority of COVID cases. And she fell in love with the platform and started building so many interesting visualizations and apps and things to solve local problems like water shortage and all of these things. She started mentoring others. She started speaking about mixed reality. We were so impressed with her that we invited her to speak at our Build conference last year, which is our big dev conference. She spoke at the Build conference. She spoke at a bunch of other conferences for Microsoft. She spoke at Ignite last year. And now she is working as a Power Platform intern virtually at Cyclotron, which is a company in the US in Austin, Texas. So she is someone who's astronomically grown in her career because of her investment in herself and the Power Platform. So why is this happening? Why are so many people thriving being in the Power Platform space? And it's because we have a giant talent shortage. Because of this whole lockdown and everything that's been going on in the world, digitization has been accelerated. All of the things we used to do in the office that required passing around sheets of paper, like sign up for this, move, this form to there, fill out this form, put it in a file. Those are gone. No one's in an office. You have to do all of this virtually, and you have to store everything in the cloud. So the best way to do that is through forms over data. And that's legitimately what Power Platform is. It's here's a form, fill it out, stash it using, into some data store, SharePoint, Dataverse, SQL, does not matter. It's projected, this is all LinkedIn stats, that we're going to have 149 million new jobs in technology by the year 2025. And you can see that there's 1 million that is privacy, 6 million in cybersecurity, 20 million new jobs in data analytics, machine learning, and AI. So that's Power BI and AI Builder. 23 million in cloud and data roles. So that's managing data stores, et cetera. And 98 million software development roles. That is a lot of people. We are not in the world graduating enough computer science graduates to do this work. So low-code tools are supposed to be about 86% of this growth market. So just think about that for a second. There are so many jobs. If you are not a trained software engineer, you have a huge opportunity to get a job so many places in the world. And many, many of these jobs are remote. So we do a lot of job searching on LinkedIn with Power Platform jobs, so we can recommend people. This is just from LinkedIn. We did a job search tool, and as of 2 weeks ago, we have 14,000 open Power Platform jobs that people are looking for. They're all over the world. Many of them are virtual. And you can see that we have new posts going up every week. So if you look, you will find a lot of Power Platform jobs. We get so many requests for Power Platform skilled candidates. These are all to Joe on my team. People reach out constantly. Can you recommend a great Power Apps developer who works on projects or contracts? We're really struggling to find talent. We're looking for someone to do this work here. I'm looking for candidates. You will see them constantly. We actually created a Power Platform job board. So if you look up Power Platform job board on LinkedIn, you'll find our job board, and there's tons of jobs posted in there. And lots of people about 680 people in there who are looking to see potential Power Platform jobs in the future. The reason we're doing this work focused on all of the world. If you hear from me, you'll know that I focus very much on the global audience. I don't focus as much on the US. I focus much more on Africa, Asia, Latin America, because it is our mission at Microsoft to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. We take the every so very seriously. And I'm so excited to invest more in India this year and grow 20 new Power Platform advocates. I want 20 new Heymontika-like stories, 20 new Foyan-type stories. I want new MVPs, new student partners to come out of the region, because there's so much opportunity in the world in the Power Platform space. If you want more about what new features and functionality are going to be coming out on the Power Platform, please do tune in for the Microsoft Ignite conference, which is in 2 weeks, March 2nd through the 4th. It's all virtual. I will be hosting, I think, across both days. Yep, across both days. So if you're doing cool Power Platform projects, do reach out to me on LinkedIn, because I would love to showcase your story on stage. So it's me. Therefore, we never leave without homework. There's always homework. Here are 5 resources that might be useful for you. First one is our free 100% free course on Udacity called Udacity Power, aka.ms Udacity Power. This is a way to get ramped up on Powerapps just from ground zero. If you know nothing about it, we help you set up your environment, build your first app from a template, build your first app from scratch, add AI, etc., etc. A lot of people in the world have found this very, very useful. So you may want to give it a shot if you haven't done it. Once you're more advanced, we've got the Power Platform Learning Path. And that's a good way to go and learn more, what is the word? Advanced skills. There's, of course, our LinkedIn Power Platform job board, our Power Platform test environment setup. So if you don't have an environment that you can use at work or at home, this is one to set up one for free, build your own Azure tenant and your own Power Platform environment. And then our friend Joe has created this Power App demo for beginners. So that is what I had for you. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope to see you somewhere in the world. Less code, more power. Thank you.
All right, so that was a wonderful video with a lot of insights and market research from Donna. So with that, let me hand it over to Sandeep. And folks, before that, just a small update. So please stay on this session. I understand that we are running 15 minutes late. The breakout sessions will start only after we finish the core keynote. So please stick around. Over to you, Sandeep. Thank you.
Awesome, Vignesh, thanks so much. Morning, everyone. If you can just confirm he can hear me okay, Deepa, Vignesh, that will help.
Yeah, you can. We're all good, sir.
Okay. A quick hello to my dear friend Deepak. Trust you're doing fine, Deepak. It's been a while.
I know, Sandeep. Well over a year. I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.
Awesome. So let's get started. So Vignesh, I just want to be mindful of time. Just tell me, give me time, and I'll absolutely ensure I, stick to that.
Yeah, you're good till 10:45, Sandeep.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So once again, welcome everyone. Thanks for the opportunity. I can't agree with Vignesh's first statement, which said, on a Saturday morning, right? All of us have busy days, and despite that, you make time to attend a community event like this. Kudos to each one of you, and good luck to each one of you, because investment in your own learning goes a long way in a successful career. So good stuff. I can't avoid, but I had to project this picture. This is probably the last time we got together in a conference room, and where we could pretty much handshake, chat up, high fives, all the stuff was there. And this was something which is vivid in my memory, because that morning we had more people than we could accommodate. You could see a few people sitting on the floor there, right? I mean, that was basically the flavor of the day when it comes to Power Platform Bootcamp sometime back. So happy to be back here. So what I'll do for the next 25 minutes or so is to give you an industry perspective. At Microsoft, I work at Microsoft Technology Center, pretty much host one customer every single day, at times a couple of customers as well. So I'm going to bring in a lot of learnings from there, right? So that's probably is my value add to this conference in terms of what's working, how is industry shaping, no code, low code, or a code first, how is that emerging? What's been the talk of the town when it comes to C-level? What do they think about no code, low code development, right? So how are citizen developers kind of mushrooming across the globe? So let's look at that in perspective, okay? So quickly now, this is a virtual conference. Anytime you have a question, post it in the chat window. We'll look into it. Even after my session, I'll respond to those questions. Outside of that, yes, you have some beautiful buttons at the top right. Yeah, so it's basically a few buttons to show your thumbs up or heart or clap or whatever. So just use that. That way we can stay interactive, and also people who are presenting will also feel participating. They get to know. Yeah, thanks for those little trials right now. Thanks for that. Let's get started. Now, let's look at industry, right? Of course, we understand that every single industry is in transition mode, right? More than ever before, because of pandemic for sure. But even before that, there was that rush to embrace technology, but it just fast tracked because of pandemic. Be it retail, healthcare, manufacturing, public services for that matter. There's no domain that's left behind in terms of they thinking how can they fast track their digital journey. I think that's number one, which is top of mind for every C-level. In fact, there's a thread attached to the Power Platform. Will look at it in the end, but otherwise, this is top of mind, right? How can we get back on our feet faster? How can we reimagine a service faster and make sure we're valuable asset in the ecosystem? But if you look at disruption, of course, each of us, I would say each of us are fortunate enough to witness it. But of course, what happened is not good. But because of what happened, the pandemic time, the last 8 to 9 months, we could witness it, in real, in terms of when something like that happens, how does the world respond, right? How technology is so critical in the current times. In fact, I know for the fact that I know a few doctors in Bangalore, in my relative circle, they have key positions in some of the top hospitals. Big deal for them was how can we ensure we get applications in place overnight, right? Pretty much overnight. And most of them have used Power Platform COVID crisis response templates, right? Look at it, end of the day, if you want to probably have a new facade to your patients as you wake up next day morning, and you can't afford to engage IT team and give them 3 months to build applications. So all those businesses thrived in the current times only because they could embrace some of the technologies matters most when it comes to go to market, right? But challenges, of course, right? Every business will go through this crisis in terms of when, what, and how. That's also because of pressure on IT budget, resources, less resources. They can't hire more people just because they have more applications coming their way. And again, the world has felt this more than ever. There is absolute shortage of professional developers. Of course, it doesn't mean that professional developers will take a backseat. No, professional developers are a lot more relevant. We'll talk about it. But end of the day, it is a handshake between what you heard from Donna saying citizen developer and pro developers. It's a perfect time where both those personas are handshaking, right? We'll see what that really entails end of the day. But if there's one theme, right? And in fact, I mentioned this last time when we engaged in the community discussion as well. The two themes that emerged fast. One is autonomous systems, which probably is outside the purview of this topic. But second dominant trend was intelligent automation, right? Automation is something which every business expects, aspires, and wants to fulfill as they progress their business. But intelligence and automation, they kind of go hand in hand. Of course, all of us understand RPA dominantly, right? RPA plus AI is dominantly termed as intelligent automation. This is something which I'm sure you would know, but emergence of AI has fast-tracked automation to greater extent. Some of the problems that people felt could not be solved earlier, some of them could not be automated. Those have been taken into the fore and we're solving those problems, right? If you look at why automation, yes, each of us, right? All of us are very creative, right? We can do a lot of cool stuff, but end of the day, most of us engage in repetitive manual tasks, right? In the current times, when it comes to optimizing operations, transforming your products, automation is taken a center stage. No conversations at the tech center where I work every single day. No conversation goes without we talking about automation and we talking about Power Platform. Eventually, honestly, sometime back it was AI. Right, AI is given. It's pretty much the fabric of every organization in terms of the thinking process. At least they were not implemented, but in terms of automation, central. That's how it is right now. Now let's look at some of the industry voices here. If you look at the Gartner, if you've taken note of the top strategic trends 2021, in fact, I closely follow Gartner in terms of the next 5-10 years emerging tech. But look at this one, block at the bottom right, hyper automation, right? I mean, what does it really mean? Hyper automation pretty much synonymous to everything that can be automated should be automated, right? That's what it eventually entails in the end of the day. Doesn't matter if you want to optimize operations by repurposing those resources to probably focus on something much more complex, much more intelligence that's required. But hyper automation is one thematic that is going to take shape this year for sure. It is on a fast track. Every single business, as I said earlier, is thinking about this thematic dominantly. Let me show you a quick example. There's no audio to it, by the way, as you watch this. These are the problems that we're able to solve today. Ability for us to take this is a 10-page form created by NHS as they admit COVID patients for treatment. So somebody had to manually look at 10 pages and then admit them. No, this is automation came into play. This is, by the way, automation anywhere use case where they used Microsoft Cognitive Services, which is basically text analytics, form recognizer, right? Now, the point I'm trying to make here is the problems like these were not were unheard of in terms of technology with certain autonomy solving it, right? Wherever you feel there is a need for us to automate, don't hesitate in terms of, is it going to reduce manpower? No, it's a question of optimizing resources, right? That's where enterprises are spending significant time. Now, with all this, while we're talking about Power Platform, I think, one thing which probably needs to be given utmost thought is data, right? Eventually, people are building facades on top of data. But today, the bigger question enterprises have is, where is our data? How do we get it together? And how can we make meaningful inferences, right? Eventually, from data ingestion to visualization, which happens in Power BI. But end of the day, for a business, right? For any business, for them to harness the power of what they have as an asset, which is data, they will have to get it together, right? Unless you get data under one umbrella, I would say meaningful inferences, or even for that matter, analytics as a service, right? Most of the enterprises today are thinking about how can we offer analytics as a service by way of an API. See, API economy is pretty much taking shape in the current times, right? I'm sure all of you can relate to API economy, right? Be it banking, financial services, retail. API economy is something which is in the boom right now. Now, if you look at APIs are I mean, we understand API for sure, but if you look at analytics as a service, API is central to make that a reality. Now, when you make analytics service a reality, that's when business users or the so-called citizen developers can be a lot more productive. They can build a lot more applications as they go along. So the point here is data is strategic for sure, but API economy is kind of on the boom right now, and analytics as a service is the new theme. When that becomes a reality, you will see an explosion of applications being built because you have access to real data, the trusted data in enterprise, right? Now, I'm sure some of you would have seen this. This is the reason I brought this visual is because end of the day, when you're building applications, when you're building solutions, there's a need for the digital feedback loop to be considered central, because unless the data traverses across the organization, unless you bring in the data in its entirety, which can be certified, trusted, and governed, right? Application development will take a backseat, right? So every single product, for example, if you look at Power Platform, I mean, Power Platform, or Power Platform comes under, for that matter, Dynamics 365. There is architectural coherence across the board, right? It is not a platform in silo. No, not at all. It basically is one of the key pillar when it comes to the Microsoft Cloud, right? Which has modern application, business applications, application infrastructure, data and AI, security, all the stuff comes together brilliantly. And that's where this feedback loop is so real. Now let's talk about this evolution, right? You may be thinking, hey, I'm a developer, I'm a professional developer, or I'm a citizen developer. Now we spoke about digital feedback loop, but how does it translate on the ground? This is something which, basis my conversation with a lot of customers today, I can safely say that yes, the application development and the data estate modernization, which is what I said earlier, data is something which is strategic asset. Bringing it together is so critical. So a lot of enterprises are right now decoupling application development and data modernization. That's a essential starting point. Eventually, somewhere they converge for sure. There is a convergence point, but by the time it happens, you got to definitely ensure you have a massive corpus of intelligent applications which leverages the power of data. I think that's probably is a critical juncture in the industry where we are witnessing this dominantly. Every single enterprises are starting here, and they're actually applicant development team also are empowering citizen developers to actually traverse this path, right? This is so critical. This is where if somebody asks you, hey, how come there's all of a sudden we're seeing applications being built and citizen developer emerging as a persona? The fact of the matter is, yes, there is explosion of data, and it is unthinkable for an IT team to look at constructively and build applications which is more meaningful for the businesses. In fact, businesses have to empower to think innovatively and build applications which matters most to them. That's the convergence we're seeing. Look at this interesting stats again. We're talking about McKinsey, report on post-COVID. This is manufacturing, by the way, Industry 4.0 adoption, right? If you look at one theme here, which I'll underline right now, right? I'll put a box around it. Look at this. We're talking about RPA and AI. Robotic process automation is pretty much one of the major investments that enterprises are making. That means if you're working for an organization, if you're looking at, hey, should I invest my time to learn this platform? A big yes, because at the end of the day, if you want to stay productive, if you want to make sure you're a valuable asset within the company and you're relevant in the industry. See, all of us are investing time and energy to learn something because we want to stay relevant, right? And this is one cool technology. You should not miss it. And doesn't matter, you might be a hardcore programmer, but I'll tell you the power of hardcore programmers' role in the journey when it comes to Power Platform. Now, 5 areas here when it comes to low code, right? We're talking about low code because, of course, there is also a bit of, I would say, writing regular expressions, all the stuff comes to the picture. But look at it this way. We're talking about these are the dominant areas where, of course, we spoke hyper automation earlier, dominant areas where we see low code emerging, even when it comes to AI everywhere or remote work for that matter, right? But let's look at, can anyone be a developer? The answer is a big yes. You also heard Donna tell wonderful stories, but it's a big yes, honestly. This is again from Gartner, right? The question you may be looking, if you're a professional developer, you may be looking, man, where do I belong here, right? Look at this, right? This is where you actually belong, and you're more relevant than ever before in focusing on enterprise IT, right? All the business aspects of it, all applications which probably are typical work group applications or individual work applications or departmental applications. You probably can focus on middleware and leave the facade on top of middleware to citizen developers, right? This is again a very brilliant representation from Gartner. I'll show you one more thing, right? This should be interesting one. We talk about, hey, is it not going to get complex because enterprise needs are getting complex, and Power Platform is also becoming, I would say, powerful. If I can say the term, it is very powerful in terms of ability for people to build applications faster without writing code infusing complex logic, right? Now, this is where you should understand in terms of where enterprise IT sits and where citizen developers will be very relevant, right? This is basically pretty much a line that you can draw, right, in terms of how they will coexist. They coexist, they handshake significantly. Of course, a few use cases, but let's focus on, of course, we say Power Platform is designed for every developer. We said, can anyone be developer? Answer is yes, but is Power Platform designed for every developer? It's a huge yes. Look at it. We understand citizen developers, right? They are the folks we've been talking about this ever since this morning. And what about pro developers, IT professionals, right? Is Power Platform designed for them as well? Absolutely, right? So even pro developers will find this to be, all of us understand rapid application development. You can't have a better platform to actually enable rapid application development, and that's where pro developers will handshake citizen developers. In fact, I would say it's a massive time where both of them handshake, right? This is absolutely essential because end of the day, this is where you'll see. I would say when we're saying number of applications is going to just multiply or blow to big time, it's because of the handshake between citizen and pro developers. Now let's look at this. This is a platform picture. I'm sure all of you understand, right? We understand where is low code, but there is also a thematic which is fast emerging, which is called code first, right? Look at this code first. Now this is something, this area which I can put a box around it. This area is something which citizen developers should not be thinking about. They should care less about this because end of the day, their focus is to leverage existing assets, which is data, APIs, access to specific functions within the company or even for that matter, you might have an AI-based registry of models available. If in a banking world, if somebody wants to build an application leveraging churn prediction, right, for let's say for upsell and cross-sell. Churn prediction model may be available in a registry, right? So all citizen developer will do is use that and just build an application. They worry less in terms of how is it built and the complexity of that code. Now this is where I said code first and low code. It's a marriage between those two today, right? Look at this emergence of I would say look at this. Look at this collaboration that's happening right now. Power Platform stands tall in terms of how it can influence business in terms of building applications to bring agility. But there's also a massive IT team sitting behind the scenes, which can actually bring in sophisticated logic, bring in sophisticated AI models, or rather take over all the complexity when it comes to plumbing required for citizen developers to be successful, right? A lot of plumbing is done by code first developers, and that's where today Power Platform is also becoming code first. And look at this Okra cat here, GitHub, brilliantly sitting there, because today you have an ability for to bring Power Platform under the DevOps umbrella, right? In terms of making sure the right APIs are deployed, right? Application deployed to production, all the stuff is baked beautifully here, right? And if there is one focus that you have to keep in mind is the logic apps and API management, right? API management becomes very critical because that's what is probably will power this platform to newer heights, because end of the day, API management will become a gateway for businesses to access key enterprise assets, right? And that's where this shines big time. Okay, so this is my last but one slide. I'm mindful of time, but let's look at this one. Azure Power Platform productivity. If you look at if you look at what I just showed earlier, this is how platform is emerging and becoming omnipresent, right? It's not the question of only citizen developers should use it. No, it's a question of pro devs and citizen developers handshake. Last message. I'm sure all of you have taken note of this. Teams definitely. I mean, today we are in Teams right now, but Teams is a new browser, by the way. I mean, that's what I call it, because all of us spend significant time within Teams, collaborating with our colleagues, etc. But look at this. This is pretty much infused with at ease, right? The Power Platform complementing Teams significantly. This is in my view is the acme of innovation, right? I would use the term acme because look how cool it becomes. Ability for us to empower businesses to stay productive with one super collaborative platform called Teams, right? You can bring in all the power you had in this platform into Teams. Okay, so with that, I'll take a pause. I have 2 minutes to go. I'm sure I've kind of went by Vignesh's 10:45 timeline, but this is all I had to share today. Happy to answer any questions you may have in a couple of minutes we have, or otherwise stay in touch. You can connect with LinkedIn. Happy to connect there and answer your questions. But before I kind of hand off to Vignesh, my sincere request: if you have webcams, with you, and if you want to switch on a video, please do that. I think it's a good time for us to see each other and also probably take a good snap. I fondly remember last time when there was a room full of people, but in the current times, all I'm seeing is myself and I'm presenting. But it'll be good to see a few faces who are today in this call and take a picture, right? Each of you should probably turn on. There should be a setting called unless people turn on videos that people won't come in. It's called the large. I would say panel view for videos, but come on, people! I'm sure all of you are presentable. You should switch on a video. Even otherwise, you have nice backgrounds that you can show off. I only see Namrata and Vignesh right now. I hope there are 100 people in the call. Yeah, there are 100 people in the call. That's perfectly fine, guys. No issues. Saturday, I'm sure some of you would probably have just woken up and joined this call, but we'll appreciate it. Okay. Take care. You guys have a wonderful day ahead. Stay safe. Take care. And again, we look forward to connecting with you guys in social channels. Vignesh, over to you, my friend.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Sandeep. As always, you just simply nailed it. And thank you so much for being mindful of the time. So folks, with this, we are closing the opening ceremony, and you can walk into all your respective sessions. So the breakout sessions for IT Pro as well as the Dev track will be starting. I see a lot of chats coming around here. Would I get this PPT when I'm going to get the recording? Guys, we got this covered. As organizers, we got this covered. We simply expect you to go to the session, enjoy the session, and gain as much as knowledge as possible. When it comes to the PPTs, recordings, or any useful stuff that has been shared, everything will come to you. So please don't even think twice about it. Just focus on the session. All right. Thanks a lot for sticking for this opening ceremony. So let's start moving on to the breakout sessions. Thanks once again, Sandeep, Deepak, and of course, even if Donna is not here, thanks once again to her as well. Thank you, folks. I'm going to end this meeting. So let's move on to the breakout sessions.